Okay, we're back again today with this thing from before. This is going to be the last one I do for just a little bit. We're going to go back to other things. But I wanted to finish up because last night's video was ended very abruptly. 1 minute before I thought it was going to finish because the camera ran out of batteries. So we'll just finish off. So what I did is I put this one back together after the video stopped. I cleaned everything up as best as I could I don't really know what I did, but it does appear that it now works. So I just cleaned all the contacts and scraped it away as best I could. This up one here is still a little bit dodgy, but everything else is going well. Actually, I've got this all the right way around. This goes exactly the way it's supposed to. So that's quite cool, and the auto fire works. Look, it stays on there though. That's a bit of a problem. So it's not too. I guess it's okay. That contact's still a bit dodgy, isn't it? So it's not in perfect working shape, but we got there. So just wanted to say that I did actually get somewhere with it, and we did actually I successfully managed to put it back together. And I like this one. It's got a good feel. It's a bit bulky though, but I like the fact that you can do that. But we'll just do a couple more things. So I did say that these were used on retro computers, this kind of controller with this kind of plug. But that's not, the end of the story. That kind of plug has been used on other more recent things, and it pops up on weird little plug and play consoles that you can get sometimes, and they aren't so popular nowadays, but except if you count those like the NES the NES Classic thing that you plug in, and the SNES Classic and all those kind of things that are currently the rave. But they all use their own little connectors, but some things use the same kind of connector. So this here is from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire plug and play game, which unfortunately I don't know exactly where it is. But I do have a controller. So they actually came with 4 of these. And they all had the same kind of Atari style connector on the end. So I'm just wondering if they actually follow the same things. Are these just mapped to the 4? Because there's four things, and you can press the middle one, and that's like the 5th button. So are these just the 4 different directions, and this is it? Is this actually wired up exactly the same as an Atari joystick? And now we're going to find out. So we're going to plug this in. If it isn't falling apart. Alright, so plugging it in, and I see what happens. Press the button, nothing happens. Well, that's a bit boring. Well, that one works. Look at that. So there is something going on in there. One thing works. Maybe that one's faulty. I do happen to have 2 on me, so here's another one. Because as I said, it came with 4. I don't know where the other 2 are, and I don't know where the actual game console thing is. So if you don't know what those plug and play things are, they're just an all-in-one game thing. You put some batteries in them, you plug them into your TV, and you've got your game going. I've got some really good ones that I'm quite fond of. My little Capcom one is... So this seems to work exactly the same. So nothing there. Should we take it apart? I don't know where I put my screwdriver. Maybe not, because I wanted to do something slightly different for another thing. Well, there's that screwdriver. I feel the need that I should take one of these apart. Except where did I put the screwdriver that I had yesterday? I would have taken it away undoubtedly and stuffed it somewhere silly. Right, hold on a second. I'm just going to get one out of my little box of tricks. Oh dear, I honestly don't have the right kind of screwdriver, which is a bit annoying. And also nonsensical. Well, this one's fine. We'll just use this. Let's see what's inside real quick. This is the wrong size screwdriver. I think it's better to use this one. Right, I just feel like I know where they all are. They're all in here. Let's stop being silly. I decided to put things in a drawer so that I wouldn't have to have everything on the desk, and then I promptly forgot to do that they were there. So we'll just do this quick. I don't know what we're going to see when we see inside. Oh, I always get carried away, don't I? I feel like the quality of this channel is going downhill if all we're doing is taking apart obscure little controllers for very obscure game console things. I mean, who wants to be a millionaire? I mean, I guess this was probably quite a lot of fun with 4 people if you didn't have like a PlayStation or something. Like, it feels like it's kind of like PlayStation Buzz, whatever those things are called, which I do have, but on the cheap. And it was running one of those, so they have these, a lot of those consoles are Nintendo Entertainment Systems on a chip, NES on the chips. And I'm pretty sure that was one of those games, or it might have been a bit more advanced, but it didn't really seem. So look at all this, look, there's like a wire just dangling there doing nothing. So that's a bit odd, and you can just tell what it's going to be. So it will obviously work the same. It's just been wired up differently, which makes you think, why would they do that? I guess because they had a ready supply. Seems strange, because this is made probably like 2000 and something. I wouldn't think there'd be a ready supply of this particular type of cable. But you can see that they've dropped one of the things, so they're not using, which is also very strange, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wires wired up. There's only 5 connections, so you'd only think you'd need 6 wires all up, because, oh well, there's a little LED, so there's a 5 volts going in, so there's a little LED on the front. I don't think it reacted in any way, I think it just came on, or maybe it does react when you're the player, so that would make sense. But you'd only really need 7, wouldn't you? Strange. Well, they used 8, so what have we got here? We've got a little thing here, there's 5 buttons, and they're all that kind of, these sort of thingy buttons. I don't know what that material is called, but you know, they make a connection when you press the button down. There's a good look if you haven't seen one of those, and I'm sure everybody has. And there's the LED, and there's a current limiting resistor, and there's a bunch of little diodes all over the show, which is interesting. I don't know why they need the diodes. That's one thing I don't know. I remember in this old school magazine called Compute, somebody sent in something for a joystick related interface, and then later on there was a correction. Somebody else wrote in and said, if you put in these diodes it works better, and I have to go dig it up to find out, now that I know a little bit more about electronics, which ones are which. And so it even tells you at the bottom, it's got down here VCC, VDD, so there's like your ground and your positive thing, and then there's that one there which isn't really soldered in very well. So I don't know if that one does anything. So the yellow wire doesn't seem to do much. Oh no, it's missed that one, so that's why, that makes sense. And that one is connected, so the little yellow wire is connected to the LED, and then the rest of them are just there, so, well, that makes sense. No, okay, weird. Well, what's the point of having a positive thing? Very, very strange. So that's B. ECB. Wow, weird. Weird. Oh, I get it. Oh, okay. So I still don't see what this one's for. So that one's A, D, C, B. That's the low. This is load line. I don't know what that means. Load line, not lifeline. H line. Strange. Okay, well there we go. That didn't get you very far. I'm going to put that back together off camera on my little meanderings. But we're going to finish it off. I have to make sure I don't drop everything on the floor. And these are hard to get out. Alright, screws into there. So what I could do is I'm going to work out which are plugged into there, and then, as a ridiculously dumb project, what did I do? So hold on a second. Just flashing the lighting off for a second. Well, you could make a converter, so you could create something to convert that to work on old style computer game systems, which I'm going to do, because I'm going to have some fun playing on old style computer game systems, and that will be really, really quirky to see if I can play the game with this controller. because that's a weird controller. But one more thing before we finish up, and this is supposed to be a quick video, and it's not taking too long. But speaking of the plug and play and Atari controllers, I'm going to try one more controller. Oh, my paper's going everywhere. This one here. So this is the original Atari Flashback, which is actually also an NES on a chip, pretending to play Atari games. So the later versions of this used emulation of an Atari 2600. This one doesn't. This one uses an NES on a chip version, but it does still have the same kind of controllers. And you'd think that these ones, so I don't know the answer, I'm sure that you can find this pretty easily if you have internet access at the moment, which I don't because my computer's been, oh my, for goodness sakes. I keep knocking the plug out of this thing. Okay, so these are the quite dinky little joysticks, and you would think they do not actually work quite the same, because these ones have a pause and select button, which you don't see on the originals. So the possibility is they're using the remaining pins that aren't used because you've only got, there's a 9 pins, you use about 6 of them for the basic thing, plus you've got your 5 volts, which you wouldn't really need in this case because there's no auto fire or anything. So the 2 other wires could be used for these 2 buttons here, which is, so I'm wondering if that's how they've done it. So will this joystick work on my little tester? So we'll try that and see how we go. So this is what the actual console looks like if you've never seen one of these things. So we will dig out one of these days. I'm going to do playing around with my 2600. This is actually modeled on a 7800, which is one that I probably will work on and do the composite output hack just for fun. But this one is what it's so this is what it's modeled on, and it has little controller things at the front and your power and reset. It doesn't really have a bendy battery compartment, which I think it would do, but it does have this thing here, which is quite good. I was looking for a 9-volt battery pack. So anyway, we're not here to play with this. We're just here. But I might use this to test my next project, which is going to be important for continuing with retro game stuff. On this channel. Oh look, I made a big mess of my white piece of paper. These are all being ruined. Everything's being moved around. Okay, so bring this back in. Oh my goodness, this desk is not going well. Let's put this back in and let's just find out the final answer. Look, they've even got the little Atari logo on the joystick. So I do have original model, well, original style Atari joysticks. Well, at least the ones that everybody remembers. I may have one like this. This is the 7800 style, I think. It's a bit like this. It's like, you know, inspired by. So when I press the fire button, already we can see there's a problem here, because the fire button makes the down light come on, or the turning it these ways doesn't do anything, and pressing these buttons don't do anything. So that's a real shame, isn't it? Like, why would they wire it up completely differently? So that just makes me think, because that was the same LED that lit up with this thing, wasn't it? So have they wired them up the same way on this? So does this actually work as a controller? So yet again, we're going to have to build a converter so that we can play with more advanced joysticks on the original Atari Flashback console, because that will be fun. So anyway, we're going to finish it there. That was all a bit disappointing, because I was really hoping that this joystick would actually work but I would quite like to use this joystick on like a Commodore 64 or an Atari, because it feels okay and it's got nice little clicky things. Well, it doesn't click, but it feels like it's moving around, like you do feel like you're moving. It's just the right amount of travel. So it would be nice to, we'll work out how this is wired up, and then we'll make a converter for it, which will be super simple. And then we'll use this as one of the joysticks to play old school games. Well, I will. But anyway, thanks for watching, and tomorrow we are going to go back to our 74 HC595, and then straight after that we're going to go back to Pong. So thanks for watching, and like, share and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Bye!